When the American colonies declared independence in 1776, King George responded by revoking every royal charter. In an instant, their formal legal standing vanished. There were no royal judges, no valid constitutions, and no recognized government. For the next 12 years, before the U.S. Constitution was ratified, these 13 colonies operated without a federal government. Despite that vacuum, the society functioned. Contracts remained valid, property was protected, and local order was maintained. The British command realized early on that the colonists were uniquely prepared for this lack of oversight. One English admiral wrote home to the king, complaining his edicts were impossible to enforce because nearly every American colonist seemed to be a lawyer. At the time, the colonies were actually importing more law books from England than the English were buying themselves. This stability was possible because the colonists already possessed a highly evolved, unwritten legal framework inherited from their ancestors. They relied on a system of justice that functioned independently of a king or a parliament. This system emerged from 3 ancient, distinct models of human power converging over centuries. To understand how America works, you have to trace these 3 specific lineages. We have to look past the Founding Fathers and see the 3 ancient bloodlines of law that actually dictate how power is exercised today. The first lineage is top-down authority, often called divine right. It was brought west by barbarian tribes who conquered the Roman Empire. In this system, the king was seen as the direct representative of God. This meant the king's personal decrees were the absolute and final source of law for everyone beneath him. The second lineage is the Roman civil law. This system took a different approach to managing power. As the Roman Empire grew, it faced a massive logistical challenge. A single ruler could not possibly oversee every dispute in a territory that spanned thousands of miles. The Romans solved this by creating a massive bureaucracy. They developed a middle management layer of written statutes and administrative tribunals to govern the people on the emperor's behalf. While these top-down and bureaucratic systems were efficient, they both placed the source of law outside the reach of the individual. Sovereignty belonged to the state, not the citizen. The third lineage, English common law, inverted that entire structure. It traced its origins back to northern Viking traditions and focused on power moving from the bottom up. Common law functions through custom and usage since time immemorial. It draws its authority from the community's shared ability to distinguish right from wrong through reason. The operational rule is simple. An individual's rights stop where another person's rights begin. Local juries, made of regular citizens, act as the final judges of that boundary. Over time, the people forced the English monarchy to recognize this bottom-up power as superior to the king's own whims. This struggle resulted in the Magna Carta of 1215. It was a physical record of the king's authority being limited by the ancient rights of the people. Later, the Confirmatio Cartarum of 1297 guaranteed it as common law. This created a direct bridge for this system to reach the American colonies centuries later. This customary law was the bedrock that allowed the American colonies to survive for 12 years without a king or a formal federal government. In 1787, the founders designed a framework that merged all 3 of these ancient lineages into a single government. The U.S. Constitution acts as the ultimate synthesis of these systems. The founders adopted the Roman concept of written statutes by creating a legislative branch to manage the daily business of the country. They also preserved a version of the top-down authority found in the Old Kingdoms, concentrating specific executive powers into the single office of the president. However, the American system contains a radical departure from its predecessors regarding where sovereignty actually resides. The Declaration of Independence officially transferred the absolute sovereignty that once belonged to the crown to the collective people. The Constitution provided a new structure for government, but it was built on a much older foundation. The unwritten common law remains the enduring source of power for the people today.